we wake, hear the birds and see the sun.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I started this channel a year ago, or when was it? 2021. I started this channel and I was just taking some videos, and then I just stopped mainly because 2022 was a hectic year for me. It was just so hectic. I was pregnant. It was just a lot going on. A new job, pregnancy, and yeah, a whole lot. So I decided to just today I decided to just pick up my phone again and just record a new video. So guys, before I started this video, as I mentioned, the topic for today is things to consider before baby's arrival. So my new member is here. You will meet him soon. He's a boy. You will be excited to meet him. And yeah, but today I just want to go, excuse me if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my book. So it's just things that I was thinking about since I'm a new mom. I'm a new mom again. So I just thought that I'd like to share with some people, because I knew the time I was pregnant, I was looking for these kind of videos. So I want to just, on my side, just share the things that were important for me to consider before the baby's arrival. So I'm just gonna go through a few things. It's not a lot of things, so let's get started. First thing was feeding options. Basically, are you going to breastfeed, or are you going to formula feed, or are you going to be mixed feeding? So it's important for you to make a decision that suits you and your family, and that is best for you as a person and what you can offer for your child. Basically, obviously, if you are breastfeeding, you will decide whether you will breastfeed or formula feed. Some people do mix feed. It's optional. It's up to you. Sometimes doctors may recommend that you mix feed. But it's up to you as a mother to make an informed decision for you and your child. With formulas, there's a lot of brands, different pricing. So you just need to make sure or decide the one that's best suited for you and your baby based on your budget and the needs that the formula has, because they've got different kinds of formulas. And with breastfeeding, I opted to breastfeed my baby. I just loved that bond, that like being the tree of life to my baby. So I just decided the first few months while I'm at home, maternity leave, I will definitely breastfeed. And it was important to me to breastfeed the baby. We are 2 months in now, and we've been exclusively breastfeeding. Everything has been going well. So what I noticed when I was in hospital, because I had an emergency C-section, so now after having after your emergency C-section, you'll probably sleep and see your child after hours and all of those, because of drowsiness and all those things. So okay, so basically I had a C-section. So afterwards, it does take time, obviously, because I didn't have the time to do skin to skin with my child. So it may take time for the milk to come through when you want to breastfeed. So at the hospital, I would ask for a top up, but I would make sure that I do give my baby the breast for the days that we were there. I would just top up maybe in the evening, not all the time, just to make sure that I balance and my baby is not hungry. But the baby was sucking very well and the latch was very good, so that was great. So it just depends on what works for you and your family. And obviously there's pros and cons of breastfeeding. There's also pros and cons with formula feeding. So it just depends on what works for you, and based on also your affordability and whatever your baby's needs. Some people they struggle with breast milk, the milk supply. Some people have to take supplements, maybe pills, or drink extra drinks, buy whatever products that are there in the market for breastfeeding. I was fortunate that I didn't have that problem. So by God's grace, I managed to breastfeed. I'm not sure if for how long I'll be breastfeeding, but my plan was to just breastfeed for 6 months and then move over to probably formula feeding. I do have a breast pump that I bought, but for now I'm not freezing any milk. I'm just pumping maybe for the next day or for the day, because the problem with me pumping a lot of milk and keeping, for me it's a lot of admin taking care of breast milk, and also like I have a problem with oversupply. So like this side I'm breastfeeding, then I'm pumping, then my breast will just automatically create more milk, and it's just a hassle. So for me right now, breastfeeding exclusively works until I go back to work, because when I go back to work, my baby will be already 5 months, so it will be like it will be an easier transition, I believe, because I do give my baby the bottle every day, one feeding. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. The second point that I had is help and support in case you get a C-section. So basically this is for if you're staying alone, you know that you won't have anybody you're going home to, or probably staying with your partner and your partner would be going to work. So maybe the kind of work that they do, depending on the hours they spend at work, those kind of things, you need to consider who's going to be helping you in case you do get a C-section. Because my bed plan was to get a natural vaginal birth, but it didn't go that way, so I got an emergency C-section. So I had to actually think while I'm in hospital, because we had prepared for an NVD, but then it didn't go that way. So after C-section, you definitely need help, especially for the first few days, or I would say maybe the first 2 weeks, depending on your body, how quick you recover. So you do need help. You do need somebody to take care of you, like prepare food for you and things like that. So while I was in hospital, I decided that I'll go home. And as much as my sister is at home, my sister is working, but she will be able to wake up in the morning, prepare for me, and even in the evenings, she will be able to assist me better, you know. So I decided to go home basically for the first few weeks until I was like feeling strong enough to be able to do things on my own before I came back to my place. So yeah, that's what worked for me, because basically when you just had a C-section, what you need to do, you need to rest. The only thing that you can pick up and carry is your baby. And yeah, so basically it just depends. It just depends on what works for you. So but that was the second option. And also on that, you need to think, if you have got other children, you need to think, while you're at hospital, who's going to take care of your other children? How are they going to go to school if maybe you're the one who's been transporting them? So you need to organize that and have that in place. So with me, I have a daughter who is 11 years old. So I knew that I'll be in hospital. When I knew that I'll be in hospital for a few days or whatever the case, I knew that there must be somebody who's going to look after her, prepare her to go to school. And yeah, so you need to have that in place. You need to organize with your family, your friends, or get help, whichever way you can and whichever way that works for you. Okay, moving on to the third point that I made is, how are you going to get to hospital? Basically, this is for people who may be having a natural vaginal birth, or whatever the case. Maybe you're not admitted in hospital before, because I was admitted. I actually went for a checkup to the gynae, my normal consultations, and then while I was there, I just got admitted due to the condition that I had, because I developed preeclampsia. It's a very risky condition. So basically my high blood pressure was high. They tried to monitor it. So I was just going to the gynae more than like more than I was going, because just to monitor the high blood. But that day I went, the high blood pressure was very high and they needed to admit me. They planned to induce my labor, but that didn't end up happening because my situation just got bad, so I was admitted. So basically, if you don't have that same situation as I had, you basically have to think and make arrangements. How are you going to get into hospital? Because you definitely, if you have pains while you're at home, you won't be able to drive yourself while in pain. So you need to arrange first with your partner or whoever you're living with, like how you're going to get to hospital. Will they be there, or will you be able to call them? And like, what are the options that you have to get to hospital? How far is the hospital from where you live? So those are the kind of things that you need to think about and consider. And also, another point, you need to practice in time how to install your car seat. So basically, make sure that if you have a car, you're traveling by car, they do not allow you to leave the hospital without having a proper car seat to install your baby. So you need to make sure that you check your manual, your manufacturer's manual, based on the car seat that you've bought and the preference. So you need to make sure that it's set up properly in your car and you can test it out, see how it works, so that on the day you fetch your baby, your baby is being fetched at the hospital, you have to leave the hospital, you don't have admin at the parking lot of installing car seats and all of that rush, because sorry baby, so you don't want that admin. The next point that I had written down, it's sleeping options for your baby. So upon baby's arrival, you must have decided what are the sleeping options that you will be doing, like for you and your baby. Like, how are you going to sleep? So basically, I know that doctors do they prefer us to not sleep with the babies in our beds for obvious reasons, and they prefer us to put the babies in their cots or in their bassinets or whatever sleeping bed that you bought for your child. So I have a cot, but I decided not to use it the first few months since I'm breastfeeding. I felt for me and my family the best way was to co-sleep. So that's the decision I made, that I was going to co-sleep with my baby in the bed. And with that, you need to make sure that you do it safely. You need to make sure that there's not a lot of other people that you're sharing a bed with. You need to make sure that you don't cover your baby with blankets. You need to take care. You need to make sure that there's enough space for you and your baby. So for me, why I chose co-sleeping with my baby in bed for the first few months is because firstly, it was so much easier for me. The first few weeks, my C-section wound was still paining. So yeah, for me, I didn't want to get out of bed, go to the courts and yabanda, it's cold, on the floors, and then go back to bed. No, for me it was easier having my baby in bed. It still is easier, although I am slowly transitioning slungu to the cot with my baby. Maybe I'll during the day naps, I'll put them in the cot, and so that they just get used to that. So it just depends on what works for you and your family and your space. And yeah, so those are basically the things that I feel you need to consider before baby's arrival. So yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please comment down below what are other things that you think should be considered before baby's arrival, and subscribe to my channel. Please support your girl. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys. I love you all. Bye.